Wow. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back, and thank you all for tuning in. Today's video, I just want to get straight into. Today's video threw me off more than anything that I've seen in a while, but I just felt like I needed to talk about this. I wanted to force myself to be consistent this month, so I really wanted to talk about a topic that I knew that I would be extremely invested in and wanting to present a new topic every single day. So today's topic and what we're going to be talking about is black home ownership. And we're going to be talking about black home ownership and minority home ownership throughout the month, but specifically black home ownership because we are in the month of February now, which is, of course, Black History Month. So I wanted to start this series out, and I started writing down topics and started doing some research this morning. And as a realtor, a real estate agent, it was very eye opening and intriguing for me to find out so many things that I didn't know in the realm of real estate as an African American, whether it would have been growing up or whether it's things that I've recently learned in these past few years throughout my journey of becoming a real estate agent and a real estate investor. One of the things that just actually hurt me more than ever to find out was looking through this data and seeing that black homeownership currently in America has a wider variance, has a wider gap between white homeownership than it had in the 1960s. So I want you guys to listen to this again. Black home ownership today in 2023 has a wider gap than it had during the 1960s, which is during segregation. Okay, so I want you all to think about that. During the time of segregation, the United States offered to black Americans a better chance of home ownership than it does today in comparison to its white counterparts. Now, why is that so significant? I want you to think about what was happening during those periods and times. This was a time in America where my grandfather couldn't go to the same school, couldn't actually go to school in his own city, had to go to a completely different city because blacks weren't allowed to go to high school in the area that he was in, and they didn't even have a high school. So the furthest that you could make it to was middle school, unless you went to a different city. This is a time when blacks were heavily discriminated against. There was open redlining, open block busting. There was just so many open racially discriminative practices going on. Blacks couldn't get home loans. They had, most of the time, they had to purchase their homes cash or purchase land and build their own homes. You know, just a extremely rough time in American history for blacks. Going back to this concept once again, the 60s. The 60s is when my grandfather walked into the Broward County administrative office and took the whites only sign off of the water fountain as he worked in administration in the Broward County administrative offices. All right. The 60s was a time where, my parents were born and then later raised in the 70s, where they were called the N-word, going to school, where they were beat up, where they at school for being African American, where they couldn't cross into certain parts of town at night for fear of what could happen to them, where black schools and churches and things were being burned and shot up, and all these other things, all this other violence is going on. And during this same time in history, African Americans had a lower gap in home ownership than their white counterparts. Had a smaller gap than they do today. I can't even begin to imagine where to start thinking about this, but I just want this to be the food for thought for the first video in this series to start it off, because I really want you all to start thinking about these different topics and concepts. We're going to be doing videos on blockbusting. We're going to be doing videos on redlining this month. We're going to be doing videos on predatory lending practices and all these different things. But I just want to start your month off and get you all thinking. In 1960, African Americans owned homes at a rate of 38%, and whites owned homes at a rate of 65%. Now, compare that to 2022. African Americans owned homes at 45.3%. Whites owned homes at a rate of 74.6%, meaning that the white rating went up 9.6 points. The black rating went up 7 points, raising the gap from 27 points to 29 points. 29.3 points. This math is hurtful to see. It's sad to see, and it definitely explains a lot of the systematic processes that occur today that prevent advancement in our community. But the only ways that we can fix these problems is to work together to advance our own communities, to build one another up, to educate each other, and help each other along our journey. And that's what I plan on doing this month. So every day I want you guys to tune in, and I'm going to give you another video every single day this month about real estate and how it relates to African Americans. So if you want to learn more tips, tricks, information about being a black homeowner or becoming a black homeowner, the resources that are available to you and the things that you can do to set yourself apart and help us change these numbers, change these statistics, we need you all to be here, watch these videos, and become a part of this ecosystem. Okay, so please stay tuned for more videos. And once again, thank you all for watching this video. Thank you all for being a part of this morning. And as always, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to the video, and subscribe to the channel and share these videos out with others who you know who will benefit from them.